people who are involved and invested and putting their energy, their life's energy towards improving lives, life, the well-being of their family and their friends and their communities. Like that was the person right next to you was doing that. You know, my grandfather who I lived with was an NAACP president, and his brother was vice mayor of Oakland, NAACP president in Oakland. My grandfather was NAACP president in Alameda and in Hayward, and got low-income housing passed. So these were people who were right next to me that were invested in and had a real stake in what was going on in the community. So if you go back 60 years or what have you, and you're in this era, people next to you are all involved. And I think it was about him looking at himself, his capacities, his nature, his skill set, what he had to offer, and said, the best way that I can make an impression on these people who are bigoted, who are racist, who support policies that are basically causing the oppression of a people, is for me to be in the middle of the fray, for them to meet me, for me to in some ways try to impact their perspective of the capacity of black people.
In my own way,
In my own
terms,
way, with
right?
my own talent,
Right.
with the conversations that I'm having with you at this plantation that I'm playing at, where, you know, there are servants and no one has ever been in here free in this capacity.
Right.
And I'm having a conversation with you, and they learn that he speaks 8 languages or
Right.
several languages, the things that come up in conversation, and playing a pop piece and then moving into a classical piece for a moment, then back to the pop piece.
Right.
That would be shocking for people in that time who look at all black people that way.
Sure, it was shocking for me.
Yes.
I mean, just his virtuosity,
Yes.
and his
Yes.
range, and the depth of his education. Such a sophisticated man, and you know, and I live around sophisticated women and men. But it was just an extraordinary performance, the way you brought him back to life. Really, give it up. Give it up. Vito, this is unlike any role that you've ever played before. What in the world made it appealing to you?
Well, I love this story. I always look at the story first, and then the character that someone might want me to play. And this was not just one of the best original screenplays I've read this year, but maybe in my 37 years in the business. I mean, it balanced so many things so deftly. I mean, dialogue was so good. The fact that real events, real people, it's funny, it's moving, it's unexpectedly very profound. There's so much happening in it. It's so well structured. I just read it, I said, man, if they make a movie half as good as the script, it's going to be a valuable thing. It's going to be a nice movie, and it might actually be a good thing for lots of different kinds of people to see. You know, I think we talked about this in Boston a little bit, but I think one of its strengths is that it doesn't, and I felt this reading the script, it doesn't tell you that you have to think this, that you have to feel this, that you have to focus on anything.
Right.
It invites you to think and feel for yourself. And I'm hoping that lots of people all over the country, all kinds of people, go see this movie because they heard it's a great buddy story, it's a great road movie, it's really well made, it's very fun, whatever reason. And they're gonna get the civics lesson, they're gonna get the history lesson, they're gonna inevitably make some extrapolation, they're gonna compare it in some way to this time. I think that's great. Apart from that, reading it, I like any story that presents characters with obstacles. You know, something that,
Like smoking a pack of cigarettes a day?
yeah. No, but I mean, it's like, it puts them in situations, and the obstacle is already that they're like oil and water. You know, it's like, this isn't gonna work. The audience sees that. The setup is great because you see Tony's, you know, family kind of model and that whole thing of life, and, you know, the affection, the way they are socially. And then when we meet your character, it's like the audience already knows, ooh, this guy that does run himself, that doesn't really seem to talk to too many people, except for unless he has to socially, may not work so well. This is going to be difficult.
Right.
And that's already an obstacle. But then as the story progresses, without even thinking about it, as they start to get to know each other, you know, and start to just inch past the limitations of their first impressions of each other, they are slowly pushed together a little bit, back to back, shoulder to shoulder, by what they both encountered together. They both learn from each other in some way, you know. And it is certainly, you know, when I was reading, I was like, I hope this doesn't turn into like a white savior kind of story.
Oh, right, it's not, it is not.
And it's not, I mean, it's like, excuse my language, but I mean, my character is such a dumbass sometimes. It's like, he's not gonna be like white savior in any way. He's gonna get him out of some jams, some earthly predicaments, you know, which he does. But, and this has been said better than me by Pete, but it's not an exaggeration to say that Don Shirley saves Tony Lip's soul, in a way. I mean, his wife sees that when he comes home. His family goes, well, okay, so we must follow his example. He's the leader of the household.
Sure.
And that, Tony and Nick, that happens. So all of that.
And then he says, you know, don't call my friend an eggplant anymore. Right. You know.
Right.
He
You
comes
know, he
back.
actually says tutsun, which is like, we showed the movie in Italy and they go, what is tutsun? I go, it sounds Italian. He goes, I don't know. I said, well, just it sounds Italian. It's like, you know what a Tootsie Roll is? And they go, Tootsie Roll? And I go, Tootsie Roll is like a candy. It's very dark. Ah, the color. And so